Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I want to thank all of you for being here. Commissioner Davis, I just want to thank you for the extraordinary bravery of the Boston Police Department and all the law enforcement officers and first responders that were involved. It was extraordinary. Your courage, the way you handled things, professional, and we're all incredibly proud of the work that you've done, and really you do set a shining example for how others should handle. We hope that we don't have any more of these incidents, but to be prepared for them. I'm also very proud that having been Attorney General in New Hampshire, I know this isn't the first time that the Boston Police Department has done excellent work, and we've cooperated on many cases across borders between Nashua, New Hampshire and Massachusetts, and it's been terrific. We were also very proud to send Manchester, Nashua, Seacoast, and the New Hampshire State Police down, their SWAT and special reaction teams to be able to help and work with you on it. So I just want to thank you for that. Our thoughts and prayers continue to be obviously with the victims. And those are, one of the things, the people who lost limbs at the scene, incredibly brave. You think about a guy like Jeff Bauman, the bravery that he showed and others at the scene. We'll continue to support them, and thank you for what you've done. What I'd like to get at is your testimony. Having been AG, had a chance to interact with the Joint Terrorism Task Force and wanted to get your thoughts on what we needed to do to improve the MOU, to make sure that agencies like Boston are getting the right information from the federal agencies, and that you are treated as an equal partner in that information sharing. So I saw your testimony on it and wanted to get your insight about what you think should be done.
Thank you, Senator. It's been a pleasure to work with you over the years, and Colonel Quinn, who's an old friend.
Yeah, Colonel, he's a great guy. Thank you.
He really is, yeah. But they did an incredible job in helping us out after the incident. After 9/11, I had an opportunity to meet with Director Mueller and talk about the help that local police could provide to the FBI as a force multiplier in the war against terrorism. And the director was incredibly gracious and opened up his offices to us. We've established these JTTFs, and they've been working very, very well. But as the Senator said, there's always room for improvement, and I think that's after this experience, when we go back and look at the series of events that occurred, there's a couple of things that come to mind. One is that the MOU could be worked on from a more equal way, so that there was an exchange of information. It wasn't all one-sided, and I think that's really important. And I also think that if there is information that comes in about a terrorist threat to a particular city, the local officials should have that information. That there should be a mandate somewhere that the federal authorities have to share that with us, so that we can properly defend our community. There can be a difference between decisions made for prosecutorial reasons and decisions made for public safety. And I think that that's the stress that occurs sometimes in these investigations. And if we're aware of what the potential threat is, we can make our own decision as to what we would do with the information, which might be slightly different. I'm not saying anything was done wrong here, and I'm not saying that we would have done anything different had we had the information that the FBI had prior to this. But I am saying that there should be a full and equal partnership where everyone is sharing equally.
Well, Commissioner, I know your responsibilities as the head of a large agency in Boston, a large city. So the information that, the FBI had in advance, and obviously we'll have a separate hearing on, and I know that you're talking, I appreciate that, with the intelligence committees about how we can make sure that there is better coordination among the federal agencies. I think that's critical that we get at that, to make sure that things like the terror watch list are effective and the information. Did you have any of that in advance?
We have 4 officers who were assigned to the JTTF. There's one in each terrorism squad. But we were not aware of the information on Tsarnaev and his travel overseas.
To Russia.
Correct.
So what we need to do is make sure, you hit it right on. I mean, the bottom line is that a local police officer is most likely to encounter that individual first, as opposed to an FBI agent, because you're on the ground, you're on the streets every day, and if you don't have that information and you encounter someone like Sarnev in advance, then you don't have the information in your mind as to how to treat that individual and what to do with whatever actions they're making. And so if that information is not flowing down fully to state and local in the way it needs to, then we do need to address that, make sure we get to the bottom of it, because I know that the FBI, they work very hard, they do a good job, but they're not on the streets every day. You are. And you're likely to encounter that person first. Is that right?
That's correct, Senator. I just want to stress, we have a tremendous working relationship with them. We are full partners in many of the endeavors that we have. But if information is compartmentalized and kept away from our Boston Regional Intelligence Center, then when my officer stops Sarnev or someone like him, we're not hitting on that database right away, so we're blind as to the prior information, and that puts my officers at risk. So I feel very, very strongly about this.
So this is something that we can help address here by making sure that the information sharing is improved, and that this MOU, that there's a clear understanding that the information can't just flow one way. And, I have great respect for the FBI, too, and as I understand it, the cooperation was good here. What was your sense of the state, local, federal cooperation at this investigation?
It could not have been better. My first call was to Rick Delorier, the SAC of the FBI. I then called Tim Albans, the colonel of the state police, and I said, we need EOD units and we need SWAT teams and we need them right away. And there was no hesitation or delay. They sent them immediately, and we worked seamlessly from that moment on. So there was no problem during the investigation. It was better than I ever could have anticipated. That's
great. And I had the privilege of working some great investigations with the FBI and state and local too. And I want you to know we will make sure we get to the bottom of this issue, because again, we can't have local police officers on the streets encountering people like Sarnev and not have the background, because it is an officer safety issue as well as an intelligence gathering issue. So thank you very much for being here today, all of you, and very much appreciate your testimony. And also, again, thank you for your exceptional reaction and response to this terrible, terrible situation.
Thank you, Senator.